some of that life force that was used for that comes back to you. Now, here's the beautiful part. The more that you do this, that energy then helps you stop over-identifying, and the essence of your true identity starts to come out, and you don't have to do any work for this, because the natural part of you just says, hey, I'm waking up more and more, and you're literally learning that I have the power of choice here. It's nothing to do with power that has power over somebody. You just realize, I have a voice.
Well, what we talk about life representation, the way that, well, how would I diagnose that I'm in hell?
Oh, good point.
Okay, let's do that. Let's make it real simple. We tell people that we look at, we look at money, finances. What's that like in your world?
The wheel of life.
And then, how are your relationships? And it's not necessarily always with a romantic relationship, but friendships, family, your relationships in general. What are those like?
Are you socially awkward?
I'm not going to admit that to anybody.
Oh, that means there's some kind of hidden thing there that needs to be healed.
Well, because we've looked at how we relate, and it's like, I didn't realize that was kind of
how do you know when you're in hell?
Exactly. Let's get back to that. Let's get back to other people.
Yes,
so
the wheel of life. Go for it.
And then it's life purpose. Do you feel like you're living a purpose? Do you feel like you're just same stuff, different day?
She wanted to swear. Oh yeah, Mark, we don't know if we can swear
on the show.
You need to tell us, yes or no.
So anyway,
please and thank you.
So err on the side of caution, but don't swear on the side of caution.
Don't swear on the side of caution. Okay, good to know. So it's like the Groundhog Day. Is it like you're waking up with the same stuff day in, day out, and going to the cubicle farm and like, also known as like an office, you know, we call it a cubicle. Yeah. Anyway, and like just existing. That's all you do is that you get up, go to work.
Keep going, keep talking.
Okay, you'll
How about give me the mouse?
Squeak, squeak. Okay, so then, and that you're just going through life. You get up, you go to work, you do that, you're miserable, you come home, you know, relationships or whatever. What's your life purpose like? Are you, your job and all that kind of stuff. And then what is the other one? Your health. So health is a big one because it's not just the aches and pains. It's not just the symptoms or the diagnosis that you have. There's also mental health and emotional health.
You know what's interesting about health is that you just assume that you're not eating the right fruits and vegetables. And Spirit has told me many years ago that if the world had blown up and you have canned food left, are you going to die because it's not nutritional? No, you won't die from it unless you have a belief system that you're going to. Belief systems will cause you to crash in a heartbeat if that's a necessary case. Cancel. Power of suggestion does it too. Here's the other part. Ready? 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 I don't know why they're repeating. But it has to do with frequencies. People say, oh yeah, microwaves and things like this. Yes and no. Sometimes it is just a note from another soul.
The person who made the food or packaged the food or cooked the food.
Yeah, because we had a contest. No, we didn't have a contest. But what we did was back in the old days with my family and friends, I had gone to my friend's house, my first teacher's, and her husband made food that he screamed and yelled in it, and then he made food that he had put love and intention in it, and inspiration. And then he had all of us taste test which food we liked. And everybody took their little charts and filled out the questionnaire, and at the end, everybody could tell, that which one was good. Because the one that tasted sweeter and actually satisfied the palate was the one that had love in it, because love is what nourishes on all levels and it can balance it out. And so I learned a lot from there. I even learned from my teacher that when you use energy and you pray over your food, the simple answer of praying over your food actually can change the frequency in the food. Can we test that scientifically? I don't know. Someone probably has. But on the scale of what I'm watching, the energy, it certainly does. You take messages from water. It shows on a molecule level that it's changed it. So intention, it has everything to do with it. And then frequencies. A person can, we were watching, I was talking about in the blog talk today, was simply how the water can get excited. And they even shown on the show Dark Matters that when they had what they call the sound of death, and when they've had this frequency sounds that were happening, it was actually causing destruction in the physical body, to the point where if it would have went any further, his body probably would have had seepage, breaking down, seepage. We talked about that to some degree earlier, but what happens is literally people get caught up and think, oh, I have a disease. I mean, there's germ theory, and then there is, like, I teach about the endobuoyant, and the endobuoyant is simply that if your environment in your body, the terrain of your body, is too alkaline, then the body is going to learn to decay you, because it has to be at a certain balance and frequency. If it is too alkaline, it'll decay you. And then there's rallying of the forces. And,
alkaline or acidic.
Yeah, and if you take a stump, a tree that fell, its whole job is that it has to break down and to replenish and go back to the earth. So it has to. So when your body starts to break down, it makes room for, especially if you have belief systems and everything else, room for fungus and parasites and bacterias and disharmony when it comes to vibrations, and this is where allergies are. And if you're used to hurting yourself, then you'll create an autoimmune where you got to constantly correct yourself. And all of these have a specific point. But the endobuoyant is that wherever there's water, there's always going to be a microbe. It's what happens in the environment frequency of that microbe that will tell you whether or not you will be healthy or unhealthy. So my body started breaking down when I kept being in a negative space. And literally I would be feeling good, and then the next minute I will become sick, because I have to stop and say, what was I just thinking? What's in my environment? And it's not about blaming. It's about knowing how to balance yourself, how to create a boundary, filters. It's about healing these belief systems that actually cause, a limited decision does more damage into the body, because as a child we made a decision to survive, and as you grow older it becomes a limited decision, and if you don't know you make that, it literally will affect who you are. Okay, it really will. So you really have to pay attention. Is it complicated? It don't have to be. It's just like with anything else, as soon as you start to become aware of it, you can, it's like when Jen was telling me a story one time. She was in college and she had to write a paper about herself, or write a paper about something, and your mom was completely surprised. You found all those books?
Right, the idea was the research, it was a research paper, and we had to tell our life story, but we had to go through and really learn all the proper way of citing sources and all that kind of stuff, but we had to find the sources. My mom she said, you found sources for each chapter of your life. How did you do that? I said, I don't know. I sat in a library and just contemplated and knew that I was going to find those books.
And that's like when an investigator, they're training themselves to find clues and they know where to go. The more you become a master of what it is your passion is. I mean, like for instance, take a look at Sepia. You look at the paranormal. Each one of these people have taken and followed their passion of what they want to do. So of course they're going to be led to the next thing so they can find evidence and do what they need to do. And this is how great things happen, how things change in this world.
How things are discovered.
How things are, we have a realm above us that is all about the invention world. And what's funny is, years ago I was thinking about, oh, I should make a diaper that, and this is when I was a little kid and I was taking care of my nephews. I should make a diaper that you can, reuse over and over, but yet has a plastic on the outside with it, because the old days all you had was the cloth diapers, and then you had just plastic diapers. I says, well, how about if we combine those two? And then I said, nah. And then it was like 2 years later, I was in the store and I'm looking, and that was not there before. And then this lady comes up, oh my God, these are incredible. Oh yes, I just got to have some. She went and bought it. I thought, oh my gosh. And so that was my first taste of invention. And then I created this dress for my mother, because she says, oh, I got a bulge. No, she didn't. She was thin. But she thought she had a bulge. And so I created a dress where the undergarment, you wouldn't know that it was pulling you in at the same time as you put this dress on. And then the weird thing is I was in JCPenney's 5 years later, and there it is hanging up on the wall. Even the same kind of fabric I was going to use. It's like, dang it.
You might want to execute some of these ideas.
Well, some of them, I just don't know how to execute them, and I've let them fall to the wayside, and I know where it's going to go. Okay, good, someone's going to pick that up. Better today, go ahead. That just seems too complicated to me. All these things. So,
well, it's also the idea of being led to things. We were watching. Was it the Dark Matter show about Einstein's brain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
My brains.
My
And that
precious.
he went out. What was it? That he went out to the shed and was just working on whatever, and all of a sudden, came up with I don't know if that's how he came up with the idea of relativity, but it's like the whole idea of chop wood, carry water. You're doing those tasks, and then all of a sudden you're letting your mind go to be able to tap into.
Well, it's like mastering how to become a psychic or medium reader or whatever it is. Sometimes you have to give that what people call ego. I call the human mindset. You got to keep it busy. So that you can get into that intuitive slice, that gut reaction, that little bit there that all of a sudden, that's how you know. But sometimes you have to keep the human mindset busy. And one of the things that I will eventually keep talking about or teaching is that ego is actually electromagnetic guiding omni-apparition. And when they first started to tell me that it was just a lens, and it is there so you can see the elements all working together. You can see the yin and yang. You can see how your spirit is fracting through. And as it fracts through, then what happens is that you then are looking at the illusion that you are so gifted to have, each one of us have. And then to be able to be in what we call the illusion, creating matter to form, and then creating a meat suit so that I can interact with you. And then learning to take thought and bringing it into form, which then allows us to interact with each other on another dimension.
Yes. Which, on a different level, that's why I was talking, that I could, in college and in graduate school, doodle during lecture, so that one part of my brain was actually doing something,
right,
where the higher brain could actually listen to the lecture and engage in the material.
I was very kinesthetic, and which means I had to feel my homework. And then being an intuitive on top of that, I had to learn to anchor or ground it, so I had to learn to write and see it, feel it, and hear it, so that I could comprehend it, and then I can engage more not in the intuitive space of it all. So, we're going to be winding down. Where did the show go? And it's amazing. So I'm not sure what is up next. I appreciate all of you coming and being here and all these other things. I really am looking forward to it. So the next time we come on is Friday.
Right, and so
2 to 4 p.m.
We'll see you then. And we're at the point where we're going to be ending right now. So thank you to everybody who was listening.
All right. Stay blessed.